Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus, and I really hate to have to do this video. John Adam Jackson is basically one of the co-runners of this community, one of the biggest fans of this little channel, and then he volunteered as the primary administrator of the Afterlife Topics forum on Facebook, where he's always there posting and working and keeping the community going. And unfortunately, from what I hear as of right now, he's been intubated in a medically induced coma, which is the story, of course, that so many hundreds of thousands of people have faced because of the virus. So obviously, the main point of this video is so that people put their thoughts toward John Adam Jackson. And what I'm really hoping is that he'll see this video once he pulls through, and that he'll heal from the intubation, which is the sometimes the most damaging part of all of this is what being intubated does to the body, and that we'll have him back soon. And that being said, I also have to face the fact that when people get to this stage, the survival rate is only 20-30%. So there's no getting around that. And my issue, well, I have a lot of issues, one of my issues is how Western countries just cannot pull it together to have effective medicines. We have ivermectin, which is now widely distributed in India, and you can see that the mortality rates in India are like one-day mortality rate in a country with 1.5 billion people is the same as the one-day mortality rate in Los Angeles. Something is not right. When the Dominican Republic began using ivermectin, you can see on Worldometer the mortality graph, and you'll see about the date that they began using ivermectin, the mortality rate just drops. Some of the studies that I've seen in other countries that have tested ivermectin's effectiveness, we're seeing 40-50% of reductions in mortality. But Western countries very, very slow to adopt new medicines, especially ones that are cheap and easy to produce. And so, one graph I'm seeing is in the USA, prescriptions for ivermectin are going up a lot, but it's not enough. And in England, it seems almost impossible to get, from what people have told me. So unless there's money in it, it seems like it just, a cheap, effective drug is not being implemented. The other thing I have the issue with is this whole business of 99.9. You hear the people denying this virus as being real or being a threat, saying, oh, there's a 99.97% chance you'll survive. That's, in the words of our friends in England, that's bollocks. That really high survival rate that COVID deniers keep using is only applicable if you have a perfect bill of health, you're young, and you don't have any genetic variables. Very quickly, that 99.97% chance of survival can drop dramatically. If you're overweight, if you're older than age 40, if you have pre-existing conditions and unknown genetic variables that determine often how deadly the virus is. So for a good percentage of everybody, we don't really know what the survival rate is. We've seen the virus take down entire families. People will be perfectly healthy 1 minute, like John Adam Jackson, and then on a 20 or 30% chance of survival the next minute. And I've seen this throughout, this whole period from March until, this time. So 10 months since really the pandemic kicked off. It was circulating in the Western countries before March, of course. Many people I know were sick in February and January and December. Those deaths were written as deaths from an unknown pneumonia-like illness. So really, it's been over a year now, and that has been the story so far. Some people, it doesn't really affect. Some people get a bizarre chronic disease like myself, and then some people, it just takes them down. And hundreds of thousands have died in the USA so far. 350,000 people, I believe. Now, in reference to Adam and his specific situation, really, I mean, the thing that was frustrating me is I'm worried. Let me see if I need to turn my microphone down a little bit. I feel like it could be popping or causing audio problems. Let me just make a couple corrections. Okay, so the thing about Adam that had me worried, I didn't think it was going to come to this, but I was worried it was going to come to this. And hopefully sometime Adam will be able to look back at this video and have a chuckle, but maybe not. You really got to fight, in this life. Yeah, we talk about an afterlife here. We talk about the other side. I was just having some experiences last night, and someone told me, I was coming in and out of lucid consciousness, but I knew I was in some kind of astral state. But it's like I was communicating to someone at a distance, and I could see some kind of luminous environment, beautiful environment they were in. And then I asked them, like, what should I, if I wake up, what should I tell people? And this unknown figure, as a guy and a girl, said, tell people of Earth that their beautiful world awaits them. A nice message. And that was just a couple hours ago, and I was asleep. I just woke up. I'm a little bit disheveled looking, as you maybe have noticed. And I get experiences like that all the time, and I know that there is this other side. I research it all the time, and I've had many experiences, but our locus of awareness is this world, and in order to live in this world, fulfill whatever our missions may be, we have to keep fighting. So you can't give up fighting. You have to, I think every day, to some extent, you have to have a purpose to keep you going. When you stop fighting, you end up on a trajectory that will manifest your exit from this world. And that can happen as soon as you stop fighting, as soon as you start thinking, well, I don't have anything here to live for. You can battle that by going inward and finding what your purpose is. And you should always make drastic action before you stop fighting. So if you don't like your job, quit your job. Okay, that's better than not fighting anymore. You're better to be even homeless, or as those in my generation like to call it, nomadic. The more glamorous term, if you want to be a backpacker, be a backpacker. I've done it a lot, but I haven't been broke doing it, but I know that if I need to live out of a backpack or a suitcase, I can do it, and I'm often a little bit happier when I am. But do that before you give up fighting, before you decide that that's it for this life. Because it's, everyone has a purpose and a mission here. Why do I bring this up? Well, I was worried when it seemed like Adam, when he started getting sick, he was giving up the ghost. And from what I understand, and I'll go ahead and disclose this here just because Adam's my friend and I can get on his case even if he is, you know, even if it's uncertain what's going to happen next, I can still get on his case because, you know, he's my friend. The doctor diagnosed him with what they call a COVID hysteria. So the doctor apparently said he didn't have that bad of a case of the sickness, but he was like thinking his teeth were falling out and having kind of like this, you know, kind of just freaking out that he was going to die, that he was going to die. And the doctor was like, "No, your case isn't that. Your sickness is not that bad. We'll keep you at the hospital for a bit anyway, because I guess some of his chest X-rays were, you know, not perfect, but basically from what I was told by his family, you know, it was more of a mental thing at that time that he had COVID. It was doing a number on him, but it wasn't as serious as a sickness as he was saying it was. Like, he convinced himself that he was really, really badly sick and going to die. From that point of convincing himself, he began posting on social media that he was going to be on the other side soon, and you know that he was grateful for my work and Jurgen's work and others because he's not scared now, and he wants to go be with his parents. And my reaction to that was, Adam, get a grip. You're not going to die. You have no reason to die. And you'll get through it just like I did. A lot of the symptoms that was causing him to think that he was going to die were symptoms that I had earlier last year. And, you know, it didn't seem any worse than what I had. So it's just like, you know, a lot of us have gone through this. You'll make it out. You'll be okay, man. Then, suddenly now, the next day, it's progressed to medically induced coma. How does that happen? Why would that happen? It happened, in my opinion, because he gave up. You know, instead of fighting the sickness, he immediately convinced himself that it wasn't, you know, that he was a goner. When you do that, it's very, very dangerous. You don't want to give up especially when you're sick. This is also how people oftentimes pass away from. God, you know, I think I've turned my damn internet off so people don't get Facebook message disruptions. Now everyone watching this video is going to hear a Facebook beep at this inopportune moment and think it's going to, you'll think it's your computer doing it. Sorry about that. Sometimes doing the video work is just so stressful. I just, yeah, it's so many things that can go wrong. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, people with illnesses that they would otherwise survive, a doctor says you're going to die, and then they convince themselves they're going to die, and they die. And that happens again and again. It's called medical hexing. You can look it up. You can get a sickness that's probably not going to kill you, but then convince yourself it's going to kill you, and then it's going to kill you. And that's just extremely dangerous. You just have to be very mindful of that type of thing. So what I hope is that maybe in Adam's less conscious state, and you know, maybe he's between worlds. We don't know, you know, how it is with comas, but that he realizes that it's, you know, that there's a level of choice in these matters, especially, you know, deciding, do we stay in this world or do we exit? I notice, as off-the-cuff research, that the countries with lower depression rates have higher survival rates of things like this virus. America is a very depressed country. I think, sorry if I keep scratching my nose. There's just something irritating me today. America is a very depressed country. And England is a very depressed country. Many Western countries are very depressed. And many Eastern countries with strong family connections, strong ties to the community with healthier, happier people, not even necessarily physically healthier, but just mentally, spiritually healthier. Mortality rate is very, very low. So I think these are all variables that people need to take into account. That, and it may help explain why the West has been so ravaged by this pandemic, because that mental component is extremely important. So what I'm saying is, I hope that Adam, from the state he's in, is able to remember this and remember his reasons for being here, because he's had a very important part of his life, has been spreading knowledge about the other side, spiritual subjects, the afterlife, what have you. And very important, that's not many. How many people actually do that? Not many. He's in this, tiny, tiny class of people who are really committing their lives to spirit. And that's why we need Adam here in this world. So I hope that he remembers this and remembers that he has a level of choice, that he doesn't have to go to that side. He can continue, fulfill a mission on this side. And I hope that he chooses to do that so that he can come back to us. But I'm also realistic, because I know that there's statistically a 70 or 80% chance that I'll have to follow up this video that he's passed. And so now we just have to wait and see what happens. And finally, on the topic of not giving up, if someone does want to go, if it is their time, if it is like they've chosen this as their exit point, no amount of prayer, Reiki energy, spirit team, spirit doctors, nothing is going to help that situation. Because if someone is deciding I'm out, then they're out. That's the power of choice and how it plays into this. And so sometimes people are like, how can there be any kind of spiritual world when we pray for someone and then they go anyway? If someone wants to go, then what can you do? You can't interrupt their free will if they want to exit. A lot of people want to exit. It's also one of the reasons I think the pandemic takes so many lives, because there's so many people who want out of this world. To those people, I say, again, before you decide to imprint yourself with a subconscious idea that you want to get out of here, you want to die, do everything you can to get in touch with your purpose in this life. If you have to quit your job, then quit your job. Do whatever it takes. Don't put that option on the table unless it's a really dire situation. I understand that. If I was suffering from a disease that destroyed my way of life, and heck, the frickin' coof did that to me last year, I understood what that was like. And to be honest, I was nearly suicidal for the first time in my life, and that was back in August, when the symptoms were just never ending and relentless every day after day after day after day. I'm like, I can't keep doing this any longer. I understand in those situations. And at that time, a medium even told me that I was at a crossroads where I could stay in this world, or maybe I could put myself on a trajectory to leave. And the medium told me this, and then I just realized, wow, that is it. I had that choice laid out in front of me when I was battling, shortness of breath and horrible fatigue and bizarre symptoms, my eyeballs getting attacked and all kinds of, things that unfortunately have still left me messed up, today in mid-January. But I realized I was on a trajectory. I was about to make decisions that could have put me on a path to exiting early, just like the path that Adam seems to be on right now. And I hope that path changes. I hope it flips around. So before anyone puts themselves on that path, do everything you can to figure out your life in this world. And I understand in cases, of course, when people have an illness that just won't stop. There's no reason for people in this world to be suffering, which is why I support um, dying with dignity, as they say, with euthanasia. I mean, I support that, because there's no point for people with cancer to be, slowly passing, slowly dying from that illness. If that ever happens to me, then I will take matters into my own hands, whether it's, legal in the country or not. But I intend for that never to happen, because I'm on a trajectory in my life where I have a lot that I'm doing, and a lot that I have a strong sense of purpose, a strong mission, and I have no intention of activating an exit point, not until much later on. In fact, right now I want to get back to peak health. I have issues still in my body, but I want to really overcome that and come back around stronger than ever. And so yeah, so Adam, I hope Adam, from the point he's in right now, he makes that decision to stay around for us and his mission in this world. So Adam, if you can hear this, it's time for you to come around and stay with us. If you don't stay with us, then, well, I don't know. I mean, that's a big hit, isn't that? Just a big hit. This community, it's crazy. My admin, Sean, passed away in 2019. And then Adam came in after Sean passed away. Maybe before Sean, I don't remember. And now Adam is going too. So that's just, unbelievable what a hit that is. So, it's, I know maybe I'm rambling a bit in this video, but it's just, Adam, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I met Adam in London, in 2019. He really liked that event. It was me and Adam, Caroline, Ian Rubinstein, who I've had on this show, and a couple other people. And he really liked that event. I was really hoping to come back to England and then do some more events, because I can see how much Adam loves to get together and do these types of things. And it's just, yeah. So, that's about, I guess that's all I can say for this video. Thank you for watching. I'm still really stunned, but it's, I'm stunned. I'm also angry in a way. I'm angry at the system. I'm angry at how all of this has happened and progressed with this damn virus. And I think that it doesn't have to be this lethal. I think there's steps that could be taken. There's cheap drugs that could be implemented. And I think so much has been botched. And I think history will reveal just how much all of this has been botched. Well, that's it for this video, and I'll post updates on my next videos, as I make them. I'm not going to stop making videos. Part of me wants to stop making videos because of this, but I realize this is still, my part of my mission and what we're doing, and this is, the community has to keep going no matter what, even if something like this makes me want to just kind of quit. But, I'm not going to quit.